special podcast today. We got the whole hunting group in here. Most guys we've ever had in this room. We've got 6 of them, so we're going to go around and introduce everybody in the core hunting group right now. Matt, you want to go ahead and start off? Well, you're up, bud.
Sure don't.
Go ahead. Start it off there, bud.
What's to say?
Anything about you, hunting-wise, where you're from, when you started hunting, waterfowl-wise, whatever you got.
All right, how's it going? I'm Matt. When I met you guys, 3 years ago?
Something like that.
We were going on our 4th season?
Yeah, probably three years ago.
About 3 years ago. Started waterfowl hunting with Brandon. He got me into it. We went out in his little boat, and he about blew my eardrum off. That was the start of my season.
How long ago was that, though?
That was 4 years ago?
4 years ago. So 4 years ago you started waterfowl.
Yep, because I think we met you guys a year later.
Okay, so you're newer than I thought into this whole thing. Okay, yep. I gotcha. Dad, go ahead and start it up after Matt there on that great intro.
There you go, Ray.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, my bad, dude.
I'm Ray Howard. I'm actually Kyle's dad. Don't know when I actually started hunting, but I was probably 10 years old, so a couple years ago. Kind of got into this waterfowling because of Kyle. Kyle actually started the whole trend of waterfowl hunting. I was the guy who strictly deer hunting. That's all we did. And up at the property, and Kyle and his buddy were going duck hunting one day, and I told him I thought he was nuts for going duck hunting. Well, we have deer running around out there, but he went duck hunting, come back with a couple ducks. We didn't even see a deer that night, and just started waterfowl hunting, and here we are. About 4 years later, 4 years later, maybe 5 for me and Kyle actually.
Probably right around there. Yeah.
So
I think it's been my 7th year so far.
Yeah, so 5, maybe it might have been longer, but just started out kind of crazy actually, because the first time we ever hunted together, we sat under a willow tree with a burlap sack wrapped around us, and thought we were hiding and thought we were going to kill geese. And big difference today than what was 5-6 years ago. So
I think it was me or Donnie or me and Brad and Tanner talked about that, with trying to just people asking about going out and figuring stuff out instead of just figuring it out for yourself. Like you got to go out there and figure it out. I forget which one it was. Our
second hunt was actually the ditch line. We just sat in the ditch and kind of put leaves over top of us, and
they got filled with poison ivy or something.
I got poison ivy too. Yeah, poison ivy all around.
I think everybody did, didn't we?
Maybe, I don't know. It was a lot of fun.
Well, go ahead, Jimmy. What do you got to say, Jim Bob?
I'm Jimmy.
Get close to the mic, Jim.
Quacker hunting for a long time here. Since I've been a kid, my dad used me as
Get closer to the mic.
He did more for the youth hunt. Take me, Shiawassee. You get first pick or pretty close to it, and pick a field and go for it. Flooded corn. Good times. We sat on the shore many times. Then I guess advanced all that, and done better than what he's done, and did that on my own.
Yep.
Moved on, and actually met Ray here at work, and he asked me along, and then from then on kept rolling with these guys. So I'd advanced the hunting. I can say that because we do a lot better than what you do with just a few guys. Well, we got 6 to whatever guys, and we get more birds and have more fun.
What would you say about better though? Just because there's more guys, is it like what do you mean by that?
Like I said, you get the humor from everybody, right? And then there's 6 of us or better, sometimes 9, and everybody, the camaraderie. When you sit with your dad, it's cool, right? That's a family thing. But then, what is it? Tops. You just had a couple buddies just sitting on the shore. You can only shoot so many ducks, limited then, So I'd say it's more fun with the group,
Right.
Just because it's more of it. Right?
Minus Devin.
Oh, Devin, he makes it.
Yeah.
He makes the group, right, Devin? You make the group, man. We all play a good part in this.
Devin's got a special podcast that hasn't been released yet that we still can release whenever he wants to. But go ahead, Brandon.
Brandon, I've been hunting, I don't know, about 20 years.
Get a little bit
Waterfowl.
closer.
I've been hunting for about 20 years. Started in deer when I was about 10. Started hunting waterfowl probably 15 years ago. My neighbor just said, "Hey, you want to go shoot some geese?" I'm like, "Well, I'm sure, why not? You got a gun I can borrow?"
Right.
Ever since then, I never looked back. I toned down deer hunting big time. Never shot the number of birds that we shoot. I had 2 fields and a couple ponds. We'd go out and shoot what we could and have a good time, and that's all it was about.
We met you, what was that, 3 years ago, was it?
It's been about 3 or 4 years ago now. Yeah, you guys knocked on my grandparents' door, tried poaching my field.
And we thought that it was going to be a 12-year-old kid.
Yep, Grandpa answered the door and said, "Oh, my grandson hunts it," and gave my number to your dad. And yeah, I mean, we can get into that story a little more later, but I don't want to say poach because we don't ever poach fields. We ask permission. If someone's already
Right.
got it, then we just walk away. And
Good catch.
you guys did the right, you guys did the right thing and knocked on the door, tried to get permission, but and then it just worked out. I mean, could have went a completely different direction, but we made it work. And unfortunately, that first hunt was kind of a shit show due to a couple of the people that were with us. But
Right. Yeah, we had a lot of birds in that field that day too.
oh yeah,
That was a good time though. I really had a good time.
I mean, we ended up having a good hunt, 20 some birds or something like that, but we could have had a lot more.
It was a long day because I think we hunted.
We
all
sat all
that
day long. I mean, it got to the point where you were so bored, you went out and sat with a decoy on your head and tried to catch a duck by hand.
Yeah,
Because
it was
we
just
had
late season.
500 ducks flying around and we couldn't even shoot at them.
Right.
Duck season
More
was
than
over.
that, even probably. It was
Probably,
500
I
ducks
mean,
at a time.
Yeah,
if
just
anything.
giant balls. There's so many, the geese wouldn't even come down through them.
Right. But go ahead there, Devin. Your face is about as red as your hair.
Hi, my name is Devin. I met Kyle, 5-6 years ago at work,
Probably 4 or 5.
4 or 5 years ago. He brought me out 2 years ago, just try it. He knew that I liked hunting and stuff, and I would be really interested of duck hunting and geese hunting. So he took me out my first time, and next thing you know, after that hunt, I think we went straight to Cabela's to spend about $1,600 on equipment, and then ever since then I've been calling them, bothering them, asking to go and everything every time, and yeah.
Well, the first time that you went out there, it was a morning where I couldn't even believe you were there because
Yeah.
you didn't have a license yet. You were literally just going out there to sit and see how it was.
Yep. We closed the bar the night before.
I don't know if we did all that, but I think we were at Diamondback, I think. Now that bar's closed down.
Yeah.
They're
We're at-
revamping it.
Yeah.
Are they?
Yeah, they're rebuilding it.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Gotta have the hit
And then Kyle invited me out that night, and he's like, "Hey, be at my house at 5 o'clock," and fucking called him at 4:45 saying, "Hey, I'm here," and you're like, "What?
Yeah, what are you
You're
doing?
here? Here where?" And I'm like, "I'm outside. Let's go."
I remember that. And then the rest of the season, you woke me up.
Yep. Every time.
Devin was my alarm clock.
I sure was.
But no, everybody that we hunt with though has been, I guess everybody's met in like crazy different scenarios, whether it be Jimmy from work, or Brandon from different fields, and then Matt through Brandon, and then Devin from my work. But it's just like what me and Jimmy talked about earlier. Is just a giant puzzle piece when it all goes down during the weekend, because we're only weekend warriors per se. But everybody knows their duty, I guess, or their what they got to do in the morning, and is able to get stuff done. And I think we do a damn good job at
We're
what
done.
we do.
We're done before time to shoot. We're done.
Yeah,
We even cook breakfast. Ray on the breakfast. We're eating good.
Jimmy's got them
Never.
munchies.
You know, we're putting the barrels down.
No, we do good in the mornings though. There's a couple mornings where we got to haul stuff out there by hand, but now that we got the 4-wheeler in a better situation, we're doing a lot better.
I just think the biggest part of the group is just the fun. I mean, there's been several times we've been out and we haven't even shot nothing, haven't seen too much, but we always have a good time no matter what we do. And it's honestly been a little bit of a journey to get where we're at as far as you know, the people or the right people that you're with or you hunt with or you really gel with that you know are going to be there when you need them to be there. You know they're going to do their job when they need to do their job.
Devin.
But which is never doing his job. But you know,
I brush those blinds in really well.
well, I got to remind you a couple times here and there to, you know, stop looking at your phone at whatever you're looking at, the pictures I'm sending you.
I got a video of him last year actually playing fiddlesticks with 2 sausages in the blind.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, that was after one of those nights with Kyle.
But, I don't know about all that, but maybe I'll post that up on the Instagram one day. Because I remember Mallory was pissed at you the day after that.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, whatever.
You know, and the other thing too is that, you know, we
gotta get closer.
it's not that we're just it's not, it's not that we're just you know, hunting season. We talk all season long. You know, we became good friends. You know, obviously I see Jimmy at work every day. You know, and we talk pretty regular throughout the season and get a game plan together and try to figure out the season. And you know, progressively we've gotten better and better and better as we learn. And the other thing that I think is just absolutely amazing about what we've done with the group is the people we've met. You know, the companies we're associated with now, and sometimes a phone call or a message on social media or something can really spark a good friendship or a good relationship with people that you necessarily wouldn't know or wouldn't even, you know, talk to out of state. So it's been a pretty good ride to this point so far, except for Devin.
I think to top that off though is for like the newer hunters, whether it be the field or the water, is understanding that you're going to go through ups and downs with your hunting crew. Right? There's going to be multiple different reasons why this guy, stops hunting, or you stop talking to this guy. I mean, life happens. It takes time to get that right crew out there that can get you further and make the team grow as a group wise.
I think that's the best thing about our group. You know,
Right.
We can go, like, season ends for us, you know, what, February 14th or
Something
whatever.
like that, yeah.
And, I mean, for the most part, we don't really talk to each other for about a month. We all just kind of sit back.
I think we get
everyone-
annoyed with each other at that point.
Well,
We've
at
been
that,
3
like,
months.
you know,
Yeah,
everyone
but-
just wants to calm down and chill
Right.
out after the crazy season, even though we usually only hunt weekends.
Right.
Those 2 days a week, we're grinding. And
Oh, 100%.
the rest of the days of the week, you know, you're out scouting pretty much every single day.
Right.
I get out when I can. Your dad goes out. I can't speak for anyone else. But, you know, but soon as season ends, you know, we take a month, you know, 2-3 weeks, sometimes a month where we don't even talk to each other. And then as soon as that little break is over where we're all rested and ready to go, it instantly goes back into like we'd never stop talking for not even an hour.
We've definitely created like a small family with it all. Because I mean, we got our core group, and then you know we got guys that come in and out of it where they're you know, trust is the biggest thing with coming into the group with spots or locations, and we've dropped a lot of guys too because of the trust issues or whatever. Not trust issues, but with doing the wrong things, and
They
maybe
were
it's just something that we picked up on, and,
Yeah, they're
and we
skirting
were
that fine line between acting like they really wanted to hunt with us and
Yeah.
then trying to go behind our backs and
Yeah.
do something else.
I mean, but everybody in their hunting crew is going to deal with that. It's just the fact that you have to understand when to cut somebody off, and have to know that there is a group of guys out there that are willing to put that effort in and get you and your group to where you want to be at, though.
I think one of the other things that's very important too is that if throughout the season something is frustrating, or you know, like you said, we're a family, and there's times when we don't agree with each other, or we want to do it a certain way, or hunt a certain place, or you know, we always just come back to just a hunt. You know, it's never where we're in too much of a disagreement where this guy, you know, doesn't make sense. We all work it out, and I think it's been a you know,
Just want to have fun.
yeah, pretty good time. I think that's you know, that's like I said, I enjoy seeing everybody on the weekends. Obviously, you get the birds, you get the numbers, it makes it better. But at the same time, that you know, even preseason here, putting a couple blinds up that are permanent blinds for us has already been kind of fun, you know, and just see what comes out of it. You know, that makes it.
I mean, even from where we started off as a group compared to where we are now is night and day difference. So, I mean, every year we got new things that are coming out and growing us as a group. And, you know, like I said, we're pretty much all in all the time.
So it seems like almost every hunt, one of us finds something new and
Right.
cool on the market, and then we,
Right.
you know, either by the end of that season or next season, we have a
Right.
couple of them. And if we like them, we buy more. If we don't, you know, we get rid of the ones we have.
Right. And that goes with the out-of-state guys that help us out and the companies that help us out as well, too. I mean, we're helping companies out that help us out and sharing their stuff as much as we share their stuff, or we share theirs as much as they share ours. And it's nice to have like the tight knit group with even like the sponsors per se, with, you know, being able to tell them like what's going on and growing their companies as much as our company. But no, just growing our company or growing our group, I should say, is a huge thing every year. There's like this year we put those 2 blinds in. There's just more and more every single year that we're just going further and further. I mean, even this year, this is the first year we've ever turkey hunted together.
Yeah.
I mean,
we
know.
talked about it the year prior, and then this year we all kind of, you know, found properties within a couple miles of it. Well, I mean, you guys had the property, but
right.
we were able to get me and Matt in on them, and we were all within a couple miles of each other. And
Devin was the only one to shoot one.
yeah, we went out scouting and everything, and, you know, watched the birds. And me and Matt could have got it done 100% on 2 jakes, but, you know, opening morning when there's 3, you know, nice longbeards strutting across the top of the hill 100 yards from you, and you got 2 stupid jakes fighting, literally so
Make it
young.
out.
I walked out and fixed the decoys they knocked over and humped,
Right.
and they never left.
Right.
I mean, I literally could have wrung their necks. I didn't need a gun.
So is that, you feeling a tag at that point, or
Yeah, you
what
know,
even is that?
Yeah, I don't know, but, you know, it was just one of those things. This year it didn't work out. I mean, you ended up getting one.
Yeah, late in the
Devin,
year.
yeah, Devin got one that first morning. Did you get one, Ray?
No.
No.
So you and Devin were the only 2 in the group that ended up getting one.
Yeah, in the group. Yeah, that was it.
But I mean, it was still fun either way. I think I ended up going out like 3 times. You know, it's a little tough for me with 3 little ones,
Right.
but you know, it's still a good time. I get out when I can. And
Speaking of little ones, yours is coming out tomorrow with us, right?
Yep. Our
I don't
first
know when
time.
this podcast is going to drop, but I mean, tomorrow we're going on a pigeon hunt for the first time in 2 years maybe? Or no, we went on one last year, didn't we?
We did do a group one last
Me
year.
and you
though.
went out last year.
2 years ago then? We did when you had the drone out there then?
On
that other property?
No, it wasn't last year. It was the year before. Yeah, where we
So, I
flew
mean,
it all out there. Yeah,
We never really did a
we
pigeon
haven't done a
hunt.
formal one since then. So last year we didn't have one, and then the year before we had that real good one where we.
The
did
first
pretty
year
well.
we really got into it.
Was that the same
had
year
some
that you shot that
bangers.
band?
Yeah, me, you, my cousin,
Yeah,
and
Jake.
Jake went out, just
Yeah.
the 4 of us on a whim.
I think we shot
And we ended up
60
shooting
or something
98
like that.
birds.
Something like, was that what
It
it
was
was?
98 birds that first day. We had, 2 dozen dive bomb silhouettes.
Yeah, and that was
And,
after I think we hunted that the day before as well, and we shot like a
You guys
pile.
did.
Yeah.
you guys did.
Yeah.
And then the next day, the 4 of us went out, threw those silhouettes out, and I think 2 mojos.
Something like that.
And
Yeah.
we sat for 3 hours. I think we went through probably 500 shells between the 4 of
It was
us,
a
and
lot.
just shot the absolute shit out of pigeons and had a
Yeah.
great time. I think we shot 2 or 3 bands that day.
Something like that, because that white one, 2, because you
Yeah.
shot the one and I shot that white one that was
Right.
staring at us all
Yeah.
day
When
long.
was that one?
That was the first one that we
That was
Yeah.
that was
No,
basically
it
where
wasn't
we
even
were
the
hunting
group.
tomorrow.
It was me, Jake, Kyle, and then
Oh.
my cousin.
No, we were there. I was
No.
there.
No.
We were
No,
there.
that was
just
the
us
second
4.
time.
Oh, okay.
The first time when we went out and hammered them, then everyone was like, "Hell yeah, let's all go." So
Yeah,
that was the first time we had a big banger with with part of the group.
Yeah.
And then
yeah.
the second time was when we all went out, and I think we shot 60 or 70 something. I mean, we still shot a ton of
And
pigeons.
then we went out to the other property
yeah,
south
yeah, and ended up
by the
doing pretty
river
good
down
there.
there,
Yeah.
without saying too much. But we shot, I think, like almost 100 that day too.
Yeah.
That was the same year, right?
It was 90 that day or something.
Something like that. Because that's right. Because Jimmy, that was the first time Jimmy started taking them home and stuff,
Yeah.
and cooking and cleaning them. But tomorrow, your daughter's coming out.
Yep. So this will actually be my first pigeon hunt.
Oh, really?
Ever.
I didn't even know that.
So I'm still new to all this. I've only been hunting. I started deer like 6 years ago,
Oh man, I didn't know that.
and I dropped a buck on my second day, my third ever time sitting. I dropped a 8-point.
Nice.
Huh, I thought you waterfowl hunted longer than that, honestly.
Nope.
He literally started hunting like
With Brandon.
the season before I met him was the first time he ever deer hunted.
That's surprising.
Goodman.
Oh, Goodman's here now.
Yeah.
So we got a 7th guy in here now.
Yeah.
But pigeon hunting, I would compare that to shooting ducks in a field.
Oh yeah, it's
That's a blast.
They shoot.
incredible.
They decoy just as good, if not better than.
I'd
ducks,
say better
though.
than ducks. I mean,
Yeah.
It
Sure.
should be with for people that want their kids to duck hunt. You should take your kids pigeon hunting.
I mean, we're all kind of special in our own ways. Why do you think we do it so much?
I think
You know what I mean?
I think pigeon hunting is honestly a really good intro to any wing sport. Pheasant hunting,
Right.
duck hunting. I mean, whatever it may be. Taking a kid or an inexperienced hunter on a pigeon hunt to just kind of get their feet wet.
Right. And I think
is
that's
great, especially if you got birds. If you got birds, it's game over. That person's going to hunt the rest of their life to
Even
try to
for-
chase that
Well,
high.
that's the thing. You can do good. You do very well. You do very well getting pigeons,
Right.
And that kid's going to get a lot of shooting in, which is a lot of practice, right?
Well, I mean, that's the biggest thing I feel like for the younger group, like generation wise, for hunting. Like the that picked up on that one.
Great.
But like Jimmy didn't even hear it.
Jimmy can't hear anything.
Jimmy felt it more than anything. But no, like for the younger group though, it's more of a like more shooting than anything. Like you don't want to sit out in the marsh or the field and not see anything and maybe pull a trigger one time or whatever.
That's what's cool about
And-
That's
right.
what's cool about taking a kid. He's
Right.
gonna get some pitching. He's gonna get some shooting in, and he's gonna learn like who's next to you shooting and what the point at.
Right.
There's a lot with that. Right.
I think the first time we went on a pigeon hunt, I think what we really did was figure out a few things. Is that and again we were practicing our shooting, it's like shooting clays or whatever, but we set up the blinds. We had everything brushed in. We set up decoys. We got everything put back away. It was kind of like a trial run for the season of what we had to do, and it's
Right.
not as important. That's kind of like the first step of learning what we were doing.
Right.
Unloading the trailer, packing the trailer back up, doing the little things that. But when we first started the pigeon hunting, and then once we got into the pigeons, it was like, okay, this is something we have to do. We've got to do this just to get even the dog, getting the dog in work and doing the stuff like that. So
It's a sweet way to spend the off season, really. I mean, you get
Especially in August before.
you get some
September
shooting in, and I mean,
Yeah.
if you like here in Michigan, we can shoot them all year, and there's no limit.
Right.
So if we could find a spot where we could shoot them all year long, I can almost guarantee you we'd all go out probably every weekend if we could,
Right.
or every other weekend, just to get the shooting in, because you can never shoot enough, and B, just to have fun.
Yeah.
and I got a new gun I got to try in the morning. So
Well, it's not a new gun.
No, it's not a new gun.
Ray had to buy a 410 because his shoulders are a little soft.
No.
No, but we got Goodman. Goodman was on another podcast prior to this one. So, Jimmy, good catch, bud.
What up, Goodman?
How's it going?
Come on, Jimmy.
So now the group's complete.
But no, like the dog situation for the pigeons. Though, I mean that's one of the best training tools that you could possibly ask for a dog.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Go with
Ray.
the
We might have to turn that fan on now. I think we got a dog or a duck or a frog in this room.
I was gonna
Still
say, you
talk.
lose the mic over here. Devin got nothing to say.
Devin hasn't spoke since the intro.
Yeah, we won't let them.
No, but tomorrow I think we got 2 dogs coming. We're gonna have Ellie, and then I think we're gonna have Rip as well.
Okay, that was my. I thought about.
If you want to bring,
I thought about bringing Kai, but she's still a little iffy on guns.
well, that's the whole point of this, though.
well on the shooting she's not.
Oh,
She doesn't
okay.
like the boom yet.
Okay.
4th of July, she hid,
like Devin
hid
does.
inside of a tractor tire in my backyard.
I think it might be too many guys even for her.
I'm hoping we at least shoot a couple, and I'm gonna take some home.
Okay.
Just
Work
throw
with
them around
her.
the backyard with me.
I might bring mine out.
I
If you want to,
actually have
yeah,
a couple,
that's fine.
You gave me a couple wood ducks.
Yeah, Jimmy, because you got a new dog. How's your dog doing?
Huh?
How's your dog doing?
He's good. I mean, he just hasn't been out to do it. You know what I mean?
Why don't we bring him
As far
out
as
then?
retrieving the wings and the ducks and all that, he was doing it. The goose, I mean, he's a little bigger now, but the goose at first, he couldn't bring that whole goose to me. He'd
Right.
drop it, and then, but like I said, you got to get him out to do it.
Well, let's do that then.
That's what we have to
Yeah,
do.
tomorrow. I'll leave mine at home.
Takes a big ass dog to bring some of these geese we're shooting in, though.
Well, I seen one of the best posts that I think I've seen in a while on Facebook recently was there's 1 million duck dogs, but there's only a certain amount of goose dogs. Because I mean that's a whole different ballgame. Like
Yeah.
example, like Ellie's great on the ducks, but she struggles a little.
Yeah,
bit with
yeah. I mean,
geese.
she loves the ducks, and she's great, especially when it's cleanup time. You know, she finds that special duck
And
and,
hides
runs
it.
off and hides it on us. But
That's a funny story to bring up. Not to cut you off, but so one of our buddies went to the ditch line last year and went to the bathroom. Ellie picks up a duck, a hen mallard last year, and nobody even realizes it. She takes it, she goes and hides it in the ditch. Jimmy's walking around trying to find that duck, steps right in the pile of shit that our buddy left him in the
I was
morning
gonna say,
time.
hold on a minute. He didn't go to the bathroom. He took a shit.
Yeah. And Jimmy steps right in our buddy's shit and walks around the field with it.
I don't know what to say.
Ew.
Bad coincidence right there with
Oh,
that.
man,
That
was
and, you know,
We were just talking about that hunt today, weren't we?
yeah.
Or was it, okay,
Hunter's etiquette. Don't shit so close to the fucking blind.
Yeah. At least we didn't smell it all.
Yeah. But
I've had
no,
multiple
Ellie's great, but you know, like you said, the geese sometimes she'll grab it and absolutely no issues, and sometimes
she gets soft sometimes.
She sits there and rips at the breast until she gets that sweet spot,
Right.
and then brings it back. But
Yeah.
for what she is, because for all intents and purposes, she's your guys'
Awesome.
family dog.
Right, 100%.
She is 98% family dog and 2% hunting
Right,
dog.
right.
And the only reason I say 2% is because she comes out with us on the weekends, and then during the week she just chills and sleeps in the house.
100%.
I get spoiled.
And but the 2% of the time she's out there with us, she's great. I mean,
Yeah, she doesn't do a bad job. It's just, and part of it is, I think Ellie's one of those dogs too, where it's even when I got her, she's always been a relaxed dog. She's always been like laid back and everything, and that I don't know, that drive I guess is never really like she's got drive, but not the amount that you want.
To an extent.
Right.
She's like the opposite of Rip.
she's
Oh, rips a ball of fire.
she's got the perfect amount of drive for guys like us
right.
Yeah.
that hunt the weekends, aren't out there every single day grinding away, want a dog that's going to kill itself to go get a bird.
Right.
And she's great. You
Right.
guys take her home, you get her out of the truck, that switch instantly turns off, and she's chill. But as soon as she sees us packing up in the morning,
Oh, she's pissed if
she's
we're not.
fucking running around,
Right.
tail whipping. She's
Yeah.
ready to go. She wants to go.
It's honestly my favorite part of the hunt. Except for hunting with
Devin.
Kyle. No, not so much Devin. But Kyle and obviously your sister, Lauren. She started with us last year. But watching Ellie bring back ducks or just sitting there watching her retrieve or finding that bird is a really, really cool thing for me. Just watching that part of it. And I've heard podcasts where you guys talk about watching the ducks and watching the geese and what they do. That is such a cool thing because as much as we've been out, we never really have a dull moment. We're always seeing something, and it's but for me by far the coolest thing is watching Ellie retrieve.
There's
that is
nothing
very cool.
like seeing your family dog, your love, that you love that dog. There's nothing like seeing that dog go out and get a bird, come back with it, and make you happy, and she's so happy.
Well,
right?
that
She's
was the
so
thing.
happy.
That was the thing when I got her though too. Is when we got her, we kind of like I put it to a point where she's gonna do what I want, and she's not gonna be a, that she's not going out to win ribbons. She's not gonna have like the hold or
She's not gonna run hunt tests or anything like that.
she does what she needs to do, and she does the job. You know what I mean? But Allie, I will say, is one of those dogs that is almost sometimes too smart to where like she knows what's going on. Like yesterday when we shot that pigeon and it landed in the beans, she knew what she was doing. She found a pigeon right in the middle of the bean field, like the standing. Still, it's like how do you even? I mean,
She was
knows
skipping around the
obviously.
beans like it was like she was a deer.
Oh,
It
it
was
was
crazy.
hilarious, but like she's just so smart though that like I guess there's a point where the dog outsmarts the person that's doing it to it,
I'd say the dog outsmarts the person every single time.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
dog knows.
But you get what I'm saying though, because
Yeah.
a lot of the guys are doing like the hand signals or whatever it is, and there's sometimes where that dog like you don't need to do all that, like they
Right.
know what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, like I've seen you do the hand signals with Ellie sometimes, and 75% of the time she knows what you're doing. 25% of the time she either knows what you're doing and just doesn't give a fuck,
That's
Or-
probably that's probably
or she's not really.
24%.
She's like okay, but most of the time she finds a bird.
Right.
I mean, occasionally we gotta walk out there if the duck sails, and she wants to go every time. Even when you call her off, like last year when that black duck sailed,
yeah,
900 yards,
yeah,
she wanted to follow me the whole way
yeah.
because
she's
she
eager
wants
to
that
get
bird.
it. Yeah, she's eager.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's definitely eager with it all.
So from that point going forward, I mean, if you go around, the group we have here, like Matt, what is your favorite part of what we do? What do you enjoy? I mean, obviously we said the camaraderie and the just being out there, but what do you enjoy about like doing this with all of us, or especially me, or just not Devin?
Well, for me, I think it's the learning. I said I'm fairly new to this, and seeing Kyle, do the spread and the
Oh,
blinds.
it's
And,
anal there.
oh yeah, I mean, I didn't know that.
That's a whole other podcast.
You don't rearrange your spread 5 times, birds ain't gonna come. All
Oh
right.
no! If you gotta move, I gotta move that bird 2 yards, and it's looking at me funny.
The
I gotta-
decoys get moved before the birds fly.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's for
Yeah.
sure.
At
And if you
least 5
touch my
times.
decoys before, because
It's
I
over.
know
Say, how
one
many
hunt,
times?
Yeah.
How many times you gonna move them?
I know one hunt for sure last year. I think I know it. I think you know what I'm talking about. If there was a guy that put him out there, and I think I talked to you after he put him out there, and I'm like, what in the world is even this? It was in the ditch. I'll say that.
I think what happens is the guys try to help other people we bring with us, and they're bringing them out there, and it's a little too fast sometimes, right? You got to hold back, and then
Right.
because you're setting them up. Kyle's the man that's setting them up. That's how our program rolls.
Right.
And then you sit back and you're, well, who put that bird there, right?
Right.
You know what I mean? So then you got to go out and you study. So that's why you kind of move them more. Then you see how the birds react to the flock we have, and then we know right away. You're out there changing them. We need a little movement, and it gets done. And that's really the answer, right? I think really people try to help us, and that's great. But then sometimes we're overloaded in the morning when you throw out the decoys all at one time.
Yeah, not to change the subject, but if anyone listening ever hunts with us, Kyle sets the decoys.
Yep, don't touch them.
Don't
Carry them, put the posts in
Put
them,
'em in a
do
pile.
whatever you want. Do not attempt to set them up.
Yep.
Carry them to Kyle, he will go from there. And you can ask him 7,000 times in the hour that he's taken to set the decoys up if he wants you to help. And every single time he'll say, no thank you.
Yeah. Go eat breakfast. But
See-
go ahead, Matt. Though.
Yep. So the learning and watching all these other guys that have done this for a lot longer than I have, and just seeing the way they do things. They're showing me things, and it's an experience.
What about you, Devin? What do you think? What is like your? I mean, the cool part. I mean, obviously you're not shooting many. You're not shooting very many ducks or geese during the year, but you're shooting at them. But you're not.
You know what? I think my favorite part's shooting more ducks and geese than you.
That's never happened yet.
That's
So
no. That's why you're getting a new gun. And I'm still stuck with my
Must be a boring season.
my Winchester. And he went out
Good
and
or
bought
rave, Matt.
he went he went out and bought a brand new gun and got it refurbished and just
He bought a brand new gun and had it refurbished.
yeah, pretty much.
so I guess my question to you. So the 7 geese and the 3 ducks you shot last year.
Out of the 600 birds.
Yeah, out of the 600 birds we killed.
No, I don't.
That-
I think I
Oh,
think I
less,
shot
less.
more.
Oh, more.
Yeah.
But what is? I mean, honestly, seriously, what
Because
is like? What is your
remember
favorite
like
part?
how many times like you sat next to me and you
You're
shoot
playing
your
with 2
freaking
sausages pointing at each other.
no, you freaking shoot your shells, and then I'm still watching the birds fly by, and then I just fucking unload off of them, drop usually 2 or 3
I
at
don't
a
remember
time.
that at all.
I will say the funniest part last year for me was when you fell asleep behind Brandon's grandma's house because Devin was a little something and he fell asleep and Brandon emptied out a shell. Well, next thing you know, I loaded that in Devin's gun without him realizing it.
An
And he
empty
would-
shell.
And he went to
No.
go shoot.
I emptied the load out of the shell. I emptied the load out of the shell. The
Right.
powder and everything was still intact, so it would somewhat go off.
Yeah, but Devin went to go shoot and he's like, "What the heck's going on with my gun?" And he kept on trying to like push it forward to the shoulder. Wasn't understanding what was even going on.
But you shot all the birds though. Remember on that volley? You remember that?
That was the one time
Oh,
out of
yeah.
how many hunts that we went on.
So what about you, Brandon? What do you?
I don't know, man. I love it all, really. It was a great time before I met you guys. It's even better now, that we got the group together. I mean, there's not really one particular thing that I could pick out, truthfully. I don't know. It's too hard.
What about you?
I mean,
Gilbert?
there's always the
So-
pros and cons, though. Not to cut you off.
No,
There's always
good.
pros and cons throughout the season that
Oh, 100%. I mean,
we
You know,
all
there's-
go through ourselves.
there's portions of the season where, some
You
of
don't
us
even wanna-
fucking hate each other, but we
Right.
still go out because we know we're going to have a good time.
Right.
I love you, Devin.
Everyone in the group is pretty good at taking shit, and 9 times out of 10, much better at giving it back. The one exception being Devin.
He just
You
takes
fuck
it?
with him, and he just takes it, and occasionally he tries to come back with something, but it's usually
Goose, goose, goose.
yeah, it's usually pretty bad. But hey, that's why we love him.
Yeah.
But I couldn't pick out one thing other than the fact that at the end of the day, we're all still tight, and we just get it done.
I think what most of it is by the end of this, like middle of the season, we've been doing it for how many weeks on it? Like we said, we're
Yeah.
only weekend warriors. We kind of just get tired of our,
I
we're
think,
just tired. We're tired of people
yeah.
saying whatever in the mornings and
I think last season was probably one of our better ones so far. Not necessarily in numbers wise,
most
but
relaxed wise.
yeah, we were all super chill, and I think a lot of that was due to the fact that we didn't stress early season because we really didn't hunt three, 4 times. I think me and your dad hunted the most because we went teal hunting.
Yeah.
I think it was because I was gone.
And then
That was it, 100%.
Yeah, we just stopped hunting.
And then once the season hit, it just kind of kept going, and it was just chill for the whole season. Aside from when we went for middle zone opener, and I thought we were going to come back with one last guy than we took, but that guy is Ginger, and his name's Devin. But
That almost happened.
it was. I mean, regardless, we always have a good time. Once in a while, no matter what the situation is, family, friends, relationship, whatever, you're gonna hate somebody.
right.
Well, not necessarily hate them, but you're gonna dislike them.
Pretty strong word there.
But
I mean, it's just that morning. Half people are tired
right?
and
Yeah, and
groggy.
but at the end of the day, we all get right back to it. We do what we need to do, and we go home and we do it all again.
right.
What about you, Goodman?
There's a thing that keeps on making us come back every
The
weekend.
second time?
Yeah.
Second
Second
time.
time.
Relax, bud.
So I did a podcast with Kyle a couple weeks ago, and this question got brought up, and I said breakfast.
Oh,
But
Fat fuck.
big bone.
so I committed to doing breakfast at least once, if not twice, this coming year. So
Good.
I got to get myself on that. But now that you guys are here, and Brandon, you were just touching on this. I mean, just the bullshitting in the blind. There's never a dull moment, especially with Devin and Ray next to each other in the blind.
I think we purposely
It's
said
just-
Devin's
it's
always
just back
on
and
the
forth
topic,
all the
but
time.
never saying anything.
I know it, but
I can't because I'm sitting right here.
there's never a dull moment. I mean, even if it's a bad hunt in quotes, it's always fun. So I love every bit of it.
It's good. Well,
Jimmy?
you, Jimmy, what's your like?
He's feeling the temperature of his ear at the moment.
Yeah.
I like it all. Then, like Brandon said, I love it all, man. Dude, there's not a dull moment. These guys are comedy all day, and usually we do get something. So I mean, it's still fun. It's just camaraderie between these guys. They're just so funny, and we make it fun, and we get birds. So I like every part of it. And in the dog part, dude, that's extraordinary. Really, you can't watch dogs work every time, but when you go out there and watch them dogs work, and you see that action in the sky, and they watch them fall, and it's cool. It makes your hunt worth it, you know. So I love every moment of it. And I love being with these guys, man. I really do. I mean, like I said, it brought my duck hunting to a different level, but then I brought their duck hunting to a different level. Just even with what we do with them. We make sausage. We don't waste birds. We're eating the birds. You know, people think, oh, you get that many and you're wasting them. No, we eat them. We make stuff with them. And that's what makes it good because we're all together again, right? That's 4 months of solid us together. And yeah, you get aggravated sometimes with people, but
Brains.
no, we make it fun.
What's
It's fun.
Upset with the stick.
From what you grew up doing, because you're probably the guy here that has hunted the longest. What is different from where, like from how you grew up and like before you started hunting with us? What's the kind of difference with
It's
that?
kind of like what Brandon said. You hit the shore. Mine was with my dad. You know what I mean?
Right.
And family part, you'll never forget none of that.
Right.
You know, you grow up, you were raised that way in a sense. So, but that's what your dad, and that's cool. You know, my dad don't do that no more. So then you get with a bunch of people that love to duck hunt, and when we're there in the morning, we're all thinking the same, you know, and we're getting stuff done. You don't even have to turn around and ask somebody to do it. Half the time, it's done.
Right.
There's a difference, dude. It's like me and Ray going fishing, right? You could fish with somebody that don't fish a lot, right? You're netting their fish. You're telling them how to do it. When me and him goes, he's got a fish on him. I already got the net.
Right.
I'm netting it. You know what I mean? It's just when you're hunting with people that know how to hunt, it makes it so much funner.
So it's just that like-minded group wise.
Yeah.
What you're saying.
Yeah.
I think for us, because we've been together for quite a while. Sorry, Jimmy, not
Huh?
trying to cut you off, but
You're
like
fine.
I went walleye fishing with you guys at one time.
That was
Never
terrible.
in my life
It was
have
terrible.
I mean, we didn't do great, but
We didn't even
Make it
fish.
fish.
no, the second time. The second time.
Okay, yeah.
So I went
I don't
twice.
even
The
remember
first
that
time,
one.
the first time we went out, trolling motor, took a shit.
Right.
Second time, me, you, your dad, and
Maybe Jimmy.
Jimmy or Dan.
It might have
Probably
Might have
Dan.
been. Yeah.
Might have been Dan. We went out, and I'd never walleye fished aside from slinging a worm out and letting it sit there, and whatever the hell bit it. Occasionally it was walleye.
Hurock Park.
No, Belleville Lake actually.
No, I'm just joking.
Hurock Park was 2-ounce sinkers and twisty tails.
Yeah.
But
Big old treble hook.
yeah, we would. I watched you guys for a minute, and once I figured it out, I just kind of started, throwing the planer boards and shit out. Like, we all mesh really well together,
Right.
and it makes it a lot easier.
Yeah.
That's the point right there. You jumped in, took over, started doing it. That's what we do. You get people that stand there and look at you that don't know what you're doing. It gets aggravating sometimes. You go like, dude, you don't know nothing? Well, here you go, man. You get with a group of people like this, you're doing nothing but having fun.
Yeah, like I said, it takes time to get that group though too. Because we've hunted with,
For sure.
it doesn't sound good, but we've ran through a handful of guys that
Ray.
Jesus.
For those of you that didn't hear, Devin came back with especially Ray.
he's been thinking of that one since we started 45 minutes ago.
That's getting tattooed on him somewhere.
We're a unique group. You gotta say that.
100%.
I wouldn't say we really.
100%.
I wouldn't say we've ran through, a lot of I'm not gonna say guys, people, because we've had girls hunt with us.
Right.
It's just the fact that sometimes they just don't mesh with us.
Right.
You know, they want
The mesh
to do
part
it.
is the biggest
You
thing,
know,
I
they
feel
want to
like.
do it their way, but we've been together for long enough now that it happens our way. And if you're
Right.
just coming in, unless it's a damn good idea,
Right.
keep it to yourself.
Well, I mean, I
Oh,
feel
yeah,
like
we keep an open mind, but
we keep an open minded, but like with us scouting or in certain fields, if you're scouting, Brandon, or if I'm scouting wise, I know what the birds are doing out in the field. I know what we're seeing. We know our birds in our areas that we hunt, and we know how we've been productive on those birds.
Yeah, that's
And-
one nice thing about our group is my job. You know, I drive around basically all day. You know, so in the mornings I can go hit the fields and scout in the morning,
Right.
versus you guys can't. You know, you go to one place and you do your job, and that's what you got to do. So, you know, you go out in the afternoon, and it's nice that I'm able to go out sometimes in the morning. You know, obviously not every day, but
For sure.
then we can, you know, because we hardly ever hunt the afternoon. So you see what they're doing
Besides
in the
late
evening.
season, that's about it.
Yeah, you see what they're doing in the evening. I get a decent idea of what they're doing in the morning, and usually that works. I mean, we haven't really had too many hunts where we get skunked unless we
I
get a
think-
crazy weather change.
Yeah, I was gonna say the weather and like the cold fronts that push in, or the full moons or something, where that's the only time that we're really struggling. I feel like
That
But
or,
we've been
you know,
smarter
we get-
about that though lately too. Is that
Yeah.
you know the more you learn of like you said, the weather, the moons, the wind. You know, certain times we can't hunt. You know, we make up for it later, but we're starting to learn a little bit more when to, when not to. But you know, on carrying on from what Brandon was saying about the scouting, I mean, everybody here knows, and 95% of the people that we hunt with or been around knows that Kyle does 90% of the scouting. He's out there every day, almost every night. Sometimes I'm even getting on him, being a little excessive as far as it, but that's what makes the hunts go. I mean, he, you know, scouting is most, or if not all, of the work part of it. The fun part is shooting the birds, but the work part that is put in has to be priority for us to do what we do. If the work part isn't done and we don't do, we've talked about this before, everybody has something they bring to the group, but if it wasn't for Kyle and you know, I get out as much as I can, but doing the work and the scouting, it doesn't go. And I think that's a key to what we do is the work put in other than pulling the trigger.
that's the biggest part, though, scouting.
I mean, scouting's everything with bird hunting wise, and it can also go with, to an extent, with deer hunting and even turkey hunting as well. I mean,
But
any
you-
kind of hunting that you're doing,
He's gonna shoot.
I mean, it's gonna be to a point though. You know what I mean?
As you scout, though, you learn the birds. It's very important.
Well, and I think, you know, tomorrow I think I actually got a call me crazy, but I got a log book coming in tomorrow. So every time I'm out scouting and every time we're out hunting, I'm gonna be writing down weather, whatever it is, what the birds are doing, where I'm seeing birds at, and then that way, years to come, I'll be able to be able to look back and kind of get an idea.
Yeah, you
of
look
what's
back
going
and
on.
say, okay, you know, November 10th, all the birds were over here.
Right.
You know, let's go check this spot.
Because you start getting like, and I've even had a point too where, you know, I'll look back
You
at
might have a
pictures
problem.
right now. I'll look back at pictures right now and say, oh, we shot birds over here. Well, why don't I go scout over here?
Yeah.
It's a small detailed stuff of scouting though, like how the birds are in the field. Like I've said multiple times in this podcast, where I feel like half time we're either shooting small geese or big geese, where the geese are right on top of each other or they're spread apart, and I think that's the graders and then the mixed breed that we're shooting.
And I think that's what happens, too, with that later season with the weather does make it harder. Because it's up and down.
It definitely makes it harder,
Jesus.
but
Devin's deep throat
He
and a
just-
wide mouth
He
mason
put the
jar.
whole mason jar in his mouth and tipped it over. No hands. That's good, Devin. I'm proud of you, son.
you just drank half of the whole
That's
thing.
enough. No, I just wiped that off. His whole lips are on every side of it.
He's used to those lips.
Matt brought
covered.
some moonshine, some half.
Talk in the mic, bud.
Talk in the mic, man.
You know how to swallow? I mean,
And Jimmy comes in.
What did he just say?
He knows how to
I just
swallow.
giving them.
Oh,
I'm just giving them the mic.
So
Matt
here's
brought
so
some
the one-
apple something moonshine, so we're all fucking.
So the
sipping
next
on it.
thing I wanted to bring up to ask is what, and I know there's a bunch, but pinpoint one hunt, and we'll start. Kyle, you go ahead and start. What that you have enjoyed, one of the most hunts that you've enjoyed being on.
out of this group,
Just the group, not numbers or not nothing, just one of the hunts you've really
Tastes
enjoyed
good,
doing.
so be careful.
it's a lot because I mean, there's some hunts where, honestly, a lot of the hunts that I mostly enjoy, which I feel like everybody in this group knows,
Why is it wet?
the most hunts that I enjoy the most. I mean, halftime I barely load my gun until almost halfway through the hunts. I guess what makes a good hunt for me is seeing everybody else happy because with the scouting and everything else, with everything coming together in the morning and setting decoys, a calling, and everything, that's what I enjoy the most.
Well, I'm just saying. What I'm getting at is
Well, there's so many hunts that do
just one that
kind of
sticks out in your mind
fall
that you
into
think
that.
that you like. I'll give you mine. Like mine was last year, and this is just we had a lot of numbers, but going for the middle zone opener when we were all together up north. That was a blast. I remember
was a
that
good time,
last
yeah.
year. That was a great time, and hopefully this year we get more people. I almost killed Devin twice or once, maybe once.
No, I think
It's all right.
See,
Two separate
that's the
campers
thing that
for
we
the
got to
stand.
think about, though. I don't know if I'm going to make that trip this year. Because once in my life, I think I might be in a deer stand that weekend.
For a middle zone opener.
I possibly might be with what we've been seeing.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the hospital.
Kyle will be up north in the middle zone
Probably.
opener.
But I'm just
He
saying,
can
though,
hunt the deer the next weekend because nobody else is going to shoot it.
Or
that's
during the week.
that's our opening week, though. Is the following
during the
weekend.
week.
Yeah.
During the week.
Oh, the week, yeah, the
All
week. But I'm just saying, though.
But that to me was fun. We grilled. We went out some new spots. We hunted with some guys up there that we hunted with the first time. It's always comedy because we have our own niche that we do, and then seeing other guys the way they do things.
Flag,
and
flag,
like, what is it
flag,
doing?
where's the flag?
Yeah, where's the flag? Yeah, that was pretty. That was good.
Flag till they finish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was. But that was a good hunt. I mean, that was a good goose hunt, and the ducks we shot. We didn't shoot a ton of them, but we shot some cool ducks. That was a good time. But that to me was one of my favorite hunts.
But the good thing about that, and same thing with out of state though, and a big part of like the podcast wise is and talking to people out of state is seeing how different people hunt in their areas and seeing what works for them compared to what we do, and possibly down the road in the season, if we're struggling, we can maybe take some of what they've done into our own thing and learning off of that as well. If they're like, last year was the first time we had A-frames in the middle of the field. Well, maybe that's something that we could do to change something up, or their decoy spread. I mean, last year the goose hunt that we had up in the middle zone, Michigan's middle zone, was it was basically a U.
Yeah.
With the A-frames right in the middle of the field.
That was a sweet goose hunt. It was a good learning experience for us because those blinds were
Terrible.
barely brushed in.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
there was a couple
Yeah.
corn stalks. We're in the
Yeah.
middle of a cornfield, and this was, chopped corn. There
Right.
was not even, maybe the tallest stalk.
It was
a half
our
inch.
farmer's chop corn, which
Yeah.
is like nothing.
Yeah,
Right.
and the blinds were piss poor brushed in, but it worked, and that's what those guys do. And we all were in the back of our mind thinking, "This is fucked. We're not going to shoot nothing." Especially when we showed up in the morning and crammed 9 dudes in a cab and a half Chevy.
Well, especially
Silverado.
when
That's what I'm saying. You won't
especially
forget that hunt.
especially when my buddy though didn't even answer the phone until like
Oh yeah,
6.
yeah. His buddy was at
Well,
the
we
bar
were
till
meeting-
5, and we met him at 5:30.
no I think we
I think it was light out when we were setting the blinds up.
Yeah,
almost.
It was.
it was like
completely light
6.
out.
He's like, yeah, just meet up at 6:30 or whatever it was, and we're like 6:30, like that's 20 minutes until shooting light. What are you talking about? And then we get to the spot to meet up, and he's not there. He's not answering the phone. It goes right to voicemail. And luckily, we met Flag Boy at the gas station that we met him at,
Yeah.
and he kind of reassured us that everything was gonna be okay, because the night before we're like, I don't know if Corey's gonna wake up in the morning. I don't know if we should just go to the lake. And,
Yeah, I mean, we
and-
took everything with us as a plan B in case he didn't show up. We were just going
Right.
to roll back to the lake we were hunting, which
right.
Jimmy put us on, and we kind of just went in blind aside from the, slight directions Jimmy gave us, and it turned out to be sweet. I mean, we were on an inland lake in
Right.
the middle of Michigan and shot bluebills.
Yeah. I think
It's cool. Why are you touching me?
now thinking of it, before Jimmy's playing with my dad.
That was like a gentle rub on my back. Do the other side. Here.
Oh,
Do the other side. You're gonna be that. Put some lotion. Oh.
I think one of my favorite hunts every year that I look forward to is our traffic field hunt, because every single year we do
Yeah.
very good on, and it's literally just traffic. There's nothing to it. We don't expect anything.
I don't want that.
Oh, shut that your ass. I want it.
We don't
That's
expect
Devin's job.
we don't expect anything when we first pull up, and we tear them up though. We do
Yeah.
really good there.
That's cool. Yeah, that is good. That's a fun time.
I have to say, probably one of my all-time favorites, even though it wasn't the whole group. I had a bunch of ducks behind my grandma's,
Mhm.
and we just kind of threw together a last-minute hunt. Me, your dad, and
My uncle, right?
your Uncle Dan
Yeah.
went out. Matt was gonna come, but then
It's your birthday.
yeah, it was Kyle's birthday.
Was
Yeah.
that the day?
Yeah.
That's out there. Yeah.
Matt was gonna come, but
Oh,
we
yeah,
kind
I
of backed
know.
out of the hunt at the last minute, and then we threw it back together.
I don't think it was my birthday. Because
was.
the,
It was.
the day
It
that I
was.
lost my phone was my birthday. That was
No.
before that.
No.
I think that was the year before.
Oh.
It was your birthday. Come out there.
Yeah,
And then
because
you
you
had to leave
showed up.
because you had birthday plans that night and you had to
Yeah.
leave.
Yeah.
We both.
Oh, so
left.
that's a different hunt then.
No, that wasn't that hunt because Kyle never showed up. We
Yeah, it
were
was just
trying to
you
get him
three.
to come because we had
Oh,
so
that
many
was a different
ducks.
one. But your birthday, you were out there hunting.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's when I lost my phone in the
Oh,
field.
yeah, but that was a crazy hunt. I saw a bunch of ducks and we went out there,
Just
and
like
we had our we set up an A-frame right against an electric fence. Didn't really have a ton of brush cover. Threw out 24 decoys, and we hammered a 3-man mallard limit in like 40 minutes.
That was crazy.
And we just kept sitting because I told him I'd seen a dozen or so wood ducks in there the night before. And sure as shit, like 3 minutes before shooting light, here come, 3-4 wood ducks
It was at least.
blazing in. And we dumped every single one of them and ended up with our 3-man, full limit.
Right.
And, it was just a last minute hunt that ended up working out great.
Yeah.
I wish we all could have been there so we could have,
Right.
really pounded them, but it was a good hunt.
You could even say that, Dad, with that hunt that you and Uncle were on with. You guys shot a 2-man with 10 minutes into the hunt. You guys were done.
Yeah, it was. That was a good one too. We sat there and it
It
started
was a
snowing.
first
It was
snowfall of
actually
the year.
election
I
day.
think.
Yeah.
Second,
It's some of those ones that we've had that, and I know you and Travis talked about the one that us three were on, and there was 300 birds landing in the field. We didn't shoot not one of them. We were all waiting from the drock. I think we just pulled the gun up and started shooting. We were so just
Me
amazed.
and Ellie were on the other side of the field, just waiting for a bird to drop. And
You were
Ellie
down
was
the tree line. You were down the tree line.
yeah,
trying to film it, yeah.
Ellie was a pup probably
Yeah, she was a
then.
puppy, yeah. And that was, but going back to what we were saying and not getting too far off of what we're trying to accomplish tonight with all this, but we sit there and the things that we've done or haven't done, like Brandon says, just throwing that together and saying, hey, let's just give it a try and see what happens. And man, that was one of the best hunts we had. And then there's other times where we thought we all had it planned out and we were ready to go and we're going to get this done and the geese are going to come or the ducks are going to come and not seeing anything.
Yeah.
And from trying to set up a certain way or sit somewhere else or go somewhere, it's like, oh man, this is going to be amazing because they've been flying over here, they don't show up. But and again, some of the people we've met and some of the people we've hunted with has been really, really cool. I mean, I tell you guys this every year. I mean, there's not another group I'd want to do this with, especially with my family. And meeting some of these guys like Devin, God, you were so ugly, bro. You were so ugly. I don't understand. I can't wait to be sit together in the blind, but just doing this hunting stuff with you guys and like I said, the middle zone. I was looking forward to that probably more than anything this year. Is all of us going up there, but even if you don't go, Kyle, piss on you. We'll hunt up there.
I had to take days off work.
Yeah. So.
Oh, by the way, we're leaving Thursday night and coming home Monday, so you need to take Friday, Monday.
That's
Yeah.
fine with me.
But again, that's there's not another group I'd like to do this with other than us 7 sitting here and like I said, future son-in-law Jake, which God heaven help.
That was
Poor bastard.
that was a good hunt though too
with
when
my
he came
daughter.
out.
I will never forget. Probably like the.
No, he
Huh?
stuck a thumb up a goose's butt. Is that the hunt you're talking about?
Well, that's one of them. That was a good one. But it was
Oh.
probably like the, I don't know, maybe the second or third hunt I went on you guys with. It was just me, you, your dad, Dan, and Jake.
Okay.
It might have been the one where he finger banged a goose.
This no, because Matt was there. I feel like that was when I got that.
Matt was there.
That was
Okay,
when I got
so
that band.
It was
that
just
one.
the 4 or 5 of us, and your dad just razzes that kid. I mean,
Worse than
Devin.
Right.
I mean,
Not
but
anymore, but
rightfully
yeah, not
so.
anymore.
You know, he's getting married to your sister,
Right.
to put it in nice terms. But he literally called your sister and said, "Lauren, if you don't leave this idiot,
Yeah.
you have to get the fuck out of my house."
Right.
And she goes, "All right, see you later."
Yeah.
You know, and Jake just sat there and took it, and then he didn't hunt with us for a while. I don't know if it was that or work or whatever, but he kind of comes in and
Maybe a
out
little
because he goes all over the place for
I really
work.
think it's
and,
just because of Ray.
Probably. That's what
But,
I'm trying to do with you.
yeah, I mean, Jake
It just doesn't seem to work,
It
does
doesn't
it?
work.
Jake brings a special dynamic to the group for sure.
He's the dog when we don't have one there.
Yeah.
Yeah, remember?
Yeah. He's not the photographer though.
No.
'Cause
Remember
remember
he laid on
that?
that goose
But-
for like 15
You know, at the end of it, though, he's a go-getter.
Yeah.
You know, he'll gets
Yeah.
it done, man.
He chased the goose down, laid on it for a solid 5 to 7 minutes.
He wrung its neck too. I
Wrung
think.
its neck before laying on it, then laid on it while squeezing its throat. And
So he
we
says,
made
though.
him lay down because we had some birds working.
His thumb had brown on it after he got up.
Soon as he steps up, the goose takes off,
Yeah.
just sprinting across the field, and that idiot's out of shells,
Yep.
and he had to chase it down and tackle it. Yeah.
Oh, that's a resilient bird right there. But yeah, that's and you know, just going back to that a little bit, it's you know, and the one that it's just a good time. I mean, like I said, we started out as deer hunters, and it's not that I'm opposed to deer hunting, and we will be doing some deer hunting this year. But
So you say.
no, we will.
They set a blind up last year and never went out either.
Well, this year's a little bit
And then I
different.
got
That blind's
But-
gone. We don't know where that blind
they
was.
got poison ivy to put a blind up this year, so they might actually
Yeah,
sit in
that's,
it.
that's pretty good. But I'm just saying the trials and tribulations of our goose season, and like you said, the breakfasts in the morning, the meeting you guys and meeting new people all the time. It's been it's amazing to me to think that I have made phone calls to certain people, and we've been able to get Migra for one. Migra has been a great company to work with. There's some really good people.
Just had to lick the tip, Matt.
Yeah, Matt.
Could've got Devin to do
But
that.
yeah, with Migra, Scotty over at SX Decoys, them guys have been absolutely amazing to work with as well. And it's Gator Decoys, the guys from Gator Decoys. Them guys are some really good guys that we got to meet, and through social media. So I thought that was a really a good meet with those guys too. And then now with GK and you meeting those guys too. So. It's just been a really cool ride, man. I can't wait to see where it goes further than this. But I'm just hoping my truck lasts a year because I don't want to take my new truck on the field. So
You gotta get on the horn with old Q-Tip at Migra and see if he can get us some ginger dyed pellets, so that way we can see when
you know which ones he's shooting.
Devin actually hits a bird.
That's a good one.
We ain't never gonna have. You ain't ever had one. You'll never find one of those.
How about the 2 ones that I freaking stoned after freaking he ran out of shells?
What about the one
They were on
that?
the ground. They already.
Wait,
topped their house.
time out. What about the one that Lauren videoed you? That was hissing at you in the field, and you were scared to grab it. And then all of a sudden, more geese were coming, and Lauren grabbed it and wrung its neck, and you almost ate shit trying to kick it.
So that Devin's little comment brings me back to every now and again, even a blind squirrel finds a nut. Devin has one good shot,
Shooting from the hip.
dumps 2 birds, and he's the greatest fucking hunter of all time.
Just better than Ray.
He was blindfolded. The gun was in his right hand because he's left-handed.
Spun around 10
The whole
times.
9, dumps 2 birds.
And we told him to pull the trigger.
Yeah, greatest hunter ever.
Oh,
Sorry,
no,
Devin, we still love you.
but not to cut you off though. So Goodman, what would be a hunt? I mean, this was your first year, like you said, prior to the podcast and stuff.
So
Like prior podcasts, I should say.
not
What would be
to point
your?
out any locations, but the only way I know to describe it is near that quarry
Oh.
where all the ducks flooded in
Oh, okay.
mid-season.
Yeah,
I've never seen so many ducks in the sky.
yeah. That was our first big duck hunt of the year.
Oh, is that foggy morning we were talking about?
Everything
It
about
was
that
raining.
morning,
For
That
rain,
was
yeah.
that was
I
an
mean,
incredible hunt.
That
we
was,
saw
That was an
ducks.
awesome hunt.
Literally, we were sitting there, just got settled into the blind. Kyle, he was probably fucking 20 yards away from the blind, gun still in the case, and the minute shooting light hit,
Yeah.
3 or 4 ducks flew in, and from there, ducks the entire.
I say, I
the
think we
entire
had
hunt.
what 12 birds in the first 3 minutes of
Yeah.
shooting light.
Yeah.
I mean
Yeah.
that was awesome. The weather,
Yeah.
it was overcast, cloudy, some
Yeah.
rain, but it made it even better. I don't know why, but it just made it
No,
even
that's
better.
why.
That was
That's
it.
exactly
That was
why.
It was awesome.
We shot till 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
That was a good
That was
day.
an
it.
awesome
And the
hunt.
barrel stayed warm. that
I
day.
will never forget though that hunt too, because Colt the day before told me that I don't know how to shoot ducks, and I said, all right, come tomorrow then. And we busted out a 10-man, limited ducks, and
Couple geese.
26 geese that day. And I said, you will never be able to tell me again that I do not know how to shoot ducks.
That hunt was awesome, man. That was a cool experience.
Yeah, that was a good one for sure.
And then we doubled it. We even made the better hunt the following weekend.
Yeah.
That's a hunt that I will never forget. We shot 26 geese, a bandy goose, and a snow goose. So it's technically 27 geese, I think it was. And we shot, I think, 45 mallards, 2 black ducks, and a pintail.
Yep.
And
That's the hunt that I was gonna bring up.
Yeah.
that was the day you
sweet.
guys put all that work in and had to go out there and do some renovation to get our blinds.
Yeah, was that me and
up.
Yeah.
Devin?
Huh?
Was
no,
that me?
that
You and
was
Jake.
you and Jake.
Me and Jake, yeah.
So that was.
I had to work.
But again, not keep beating it down, but it's just you keep making these memories and the group we're with, and like I said, I don't foresee us adding more. I mean, except for Jake and Lauren, but there's always times where we want more. Hunter's another guy that we met that is a really good guy that I think is a big part. Like Goodman. I mean, we could get rid of Devin at any time, but other than that, I think we're doing pretty well. I mean, if Devin's only there like once a month, then that's what it is.
What about you, Jimmy? What's a hunt that stands out for you?
Well, all I can say on that, all the hunts are extraordinary in a sense, but like the one he just said with the fog, and we shot all the way to 10 o'clock. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better morning than what you were just hunting. But on the other hand, we get snow geese.
Mm-hmm.
We're in Michigan. That doesn't always happen with this group. The last 3 years, right?
4 years.
3.
We've shot some snow geese.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen,
That makes a hunt. We've got
seen
geese you
that
mount.
we shouldn't even be really dreaming of seeing here,
Blue
especially
specs,
in our area.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
more north, you'll see stuff like that trickling through from
the
Canada.
migration.
They're not
right.
traveling quite as far south as us down here.
Yeah.
But like blues and seen a couple speckle bellies last year and the snows and just crazy stuff. And it's not tens of thousands. We're seeing like 3, 4, 5.
Michigan,
We're not
though.
seeing a lot. But there's not a lot of groups in the state that could say the same thing.
I will say though that our group, I will put up with any group, any weekend warrior group, I should say, and even some guide services wise that are doing it for a living, and I'll put us up against those groups, and I guarantee you that we're topping out. I mean, there's a lot of guys on our Instagram or Facebook, whatever, that think that we're guiding or whatever, and for everybody to know, as of right now, like, we don't guide, we just buddy hunt, we just have a good time with it. Nor will we ever guide. It's just it's all.
Unless one of us hits the lottery and buys tens of thousands of acres all over the U.S.
Yeah, but I mean,
We want everybody to
And
have a
even
good
then,
time.
It'll probably be
that's the biggest
bring your
thing.
gun and let's go.
We want everybody to have a good time. Whoever
Right.
comes with us, they have a good time.
Right.
That's what
It's
we
always a
want.
hunt to remember.
Whether the numbers or not, like a guy that sticks out for me is Andrew. He hunts with us at least once a year. We met him on the boat launch, and he shot 2 ducks or something, and it was ecstatic. And we shot, I think, 3 or 4, and we were pissed. And ever since then, it was just one of those guys that kind of humbles you in a sense, where he doesn't get to do that a lot, and you kind of you just try to introduce people to different ways of hunting, and those are the guys that you want to kind of be with, the guys that aren't getting too over their heads with, and just love the sport more than just the shooting and killing aspect of it. It's way more than the killing aspect. Like, I'll get dogged on for my sister, me not letting her shoot a turkey at 40 yards, and it's like, well, that alone right there will teach someone so much more than just pulling a trigger and maybe missing, maybe hitting it, whatever it is. Like, there's a lot of like small details, like, you know, some of the guys in the group that will get mad that I don't call the shot at birds that are 30 or 40 yards out, and it's like, well, that's not the point. Like, we all kind of got it now, but in the beginning,
Yeah.
it was tough. But everybody understands now, and understands getting the birds close. And
I think that's the other thing too. Like, you know, we hunt with different people all the time. I mean,
every weekend we got what, 4 or 5 guys.
Yeah, I mean, a
that are new.
couple times this season, it's just our core group.
Right.
Great time.
But and generally when we hunt with outside of just our core group, you know, we're spread out.
Right.
You're on one end, obviously, with Ellie 95% of the time. I don't think I've ever really seen you more than 2 or 3 seats in from the end.
I think more than likely, I think me and you are completely on the other sides of the lines.
I
for.
always sit the opposite side.
Yeah, I think I've
End of the
sat
line.
next to you like.
and then you
twice.
shoot a band after 2 singles.
You can
man,
shoot
man.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the single.
Oh
Yeah.
my
He
God,
shot the
Ray.
band standing in the decoys,
Lies.
looking at us.
Lies.
Who shoots a bird
Wait,
that lands?
this is also
Yeah.
the weekend after I drew for the band.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, 4 years in, you already got 2 bands on.
Yep.
Whatever,
Yeah.
dude.
I mean, I think I've sat next to you maybe twice, and that was when we had one A-frame and there was 4 of us, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I already called. I'm sitting next to Devin every time in the blind.
Yeah,
this
we
year.
set
That's
that up
already
on
been
purpose.
precedent, Yeah.
That's
I
a
always
given.
sit the very other opposite end of Kyle.
But I think this year, you know, we need to just kind of, you know, our core group call the shots. Not necessarily just Kyle. Most of the time it is just Kyle, but sometimes he's at the opposite end of the blind, and, you know, my end, we might be able to dump the 6 birds that are there, but we don't ever stand up and shoot because we don't want to call the shot because Kyle's, you know, the shot caller. But I
agree
think
with
this
that.
year we need to get a little better at, if you think you can shoot that bird and you're not burning a 40 pack right behind it that's locked up coming in,
Yeah.
just take the shot.
Within
You know,
reason,
call
yeah.
it. Yeah,
I-
obviously not at an 80-yard bird or anything,
There
but
was a lot of times last year where I was like, well, why don't you guys shoot if you guys had a shot? Because, you know, we will have 3 to 4 A-frames lined up, and I can't see your guys'
Yep.
shot on the other side compared to
See
where
that.
I'm at.
Yeah, that's actually a question I want to.
And that's a long. What is that? How long is that?
30 feet.
40
30 to
40
40 feet.
Yeah, that's a long way. It ain't even hearing.
There's a-
You know.
Your 10
Oh, Tom.
to 20 yard shot is my 60 to 80 yard shot.
Right.
You know what I mean? But what were we gonna ask?
The pressure you're under to call shots that are on the opposite end of you. You know, what are you thinking when they're over there? Like, do you
It-
want to
it
call
depends
them?
on the
You
group.
You just don't know. Or?
It depends on the group, you know, because there is multiple times per year where I'm like, take them, but then those guys down there are not pulling the trigger.
Yeah, we need to watch out too this year, like, because sometimes it will be all the new guys. Like when Gator came and hunted with us,
Right.
they were on the opposite end of the blind from you, and they were
No,
in their
they were
own-
right next to me.
Were they?
Yeah.
Somebody hunted with us where they were, they had hunted with us before, but they weren't like a part of the core group, and they were in their own A-frame on the end. And you would tell them to take the shot, and they wouldn't shoot because they didn't think they had the shot or whatever. So I think we need to do a better job of breaking our core group up through the blind.
I agree.
So that way, no matter what, if we think we got the shot, like me and Dad on one end, your dad and Jimmy in the middle, and you and Devin on the opposite end.
Right.
As
That
long
way
as I'm
we
sitting
got-
next to Devin.
That way, we got our core group spread through the blind, and we can call those shots that.
The biggest
You know,
thing
no matter what.
is the group, the main group that guys and girls are coming out and hunting with us. We have 2 callers, like shot callers.
Yeah.
That's it. You know what I mean? Once you start getting into like the 3 to 4, and even that goes even with calling wise. because you got those guys that want to bring out their land. I get it, but the group calling is a very delicate thing. I'll say where the guys that are coming in, they haven't seen the birds. They don't know what birds we're even hunting. We've been hunting these birds most of the year, which we'll take a break off of every other hunt, or we're lucky enough to where we can hunt a roost here and then another roost and let that group rest.
I think that's a big part of our success, not to cut you off from the calling thing, but the fact that we really only do hunt the weekends.
Right.
We give those birds 5 to 6 days to rest and get comfortable in that field again.
Right.
Versus if we were hunting 7 days a week.
Well, I mean, that field last year we hunted 6-7 times probably.
Yeah.
Shot something every weekend.
And we
Right.
did good.
Besides
in that field
once.
every time.
Besides
yeah.
once.
I think that's a big plus, or you'd be burning them. And
yeah.
Right,
they wouldn't be
and we
coming
know
back.
we know how to pressure the bird. Like we know how not to pressure the bird, I should say. But we also know when to kill them and when not to kill them. But if you're a new hunter in a group, you got the main caller in the group, which I'll say is myself. The guys that are coming in, they have to understand that, just follow off of him. You can't just start ripping on a call because it's not like a I don't know. You hear a song and it's all smooth and everything's going fluently into it all. You start ripping on a call, it's all craziness, and that's exactly what the geese are hearing too. And that's the thing that I don't think a lot of people understand that.
So do you get a little frustrated when we have other people that aren't part of our core group coming in and trying to call with you?
Depending on their calling, yeah.
Okay.
Depending on their calling. If they're calling and following off of what I'm doing, that's one thing. But if they're calling trying to top me off, that's a bad
Who's
word
trying
with
to top
this
you off?
group. Yeah, that's a bad word with this group. But if they're trying to overpower me with my calling, I gotta read this though. I can't talk about that, dude. I won't do that to you. I know you don't think of me as.
Oh.
No.
All the time.
No. If someone is over trying to overpower me with the calling and stuff like that, that's one thing. But if they're following me and being in sync with me with the calling aspect of it, if I'm clucking and they're doing the spit mowing or moaning into the call, that's one thing that can flow good, So, but Jimmy, what's go ahead.
You don't have to call. I've been calling, right? I've called in birds, whatever. I'm just saying, my dad brought me up that way. I don't bring calls. I don't need to. These guys call good enough. You don't need everybody calling.
Well, that's what we're saying.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. You proved that point right here. That's what I'm saying. I'm a guy. I don't even need to bring my calls. I don't even need to call.
Right.
There's no need.
Ray
They're
doesn't
doing
even
the
need to bring
job.
his calls either.
But he still does.
Well, and I will say though too, there are some times though where it might take a flock or two, which it happened last year on a specific hunt that I can remember, where if you read those birds and know how to read the birds correctly, which is a huge thing in waterfowl hunting in itself, is being able to understand
How to talk to them.
Well, not even how to talk to them, even how they're flying wise. You might have to call at all. There was a hunt last year where we were hammering on them, and then they didn't like that, so we called to them soft. They didn't like that. We stopped calling completely. I think we limited out in the next 3 or 4 flocks, though. So it's understanding the birds, one thing. And another giant thing, too, is for the new guys that hunt with us, whatever, if you're in the blind, keep your head down, and if you want to know where the birds are at, just look at the guy that, look at me or another guy that's calling, which is hardly really ever, honestly. But look where my head's at, and you'll know where the birds are at. And with you guys hunting with me, with us so much, you know my body motions on when I'm about ready to call a shot. I'll put my hand on my gun if my gun's even loaded at the time. But you'll understand, and you'll start picking up on different things where I'm getting ready to call it.
It's hard to fix though when you're talking new people.
No, it is.
They want to look. I mean,
I
but
know,
I get what
I
you're
know.
saying. I'm there with you because I don't want them to move neither. But that is hard on a new person.
It
They
is.
definitely want to look at that
Because,
bird.
I mean, let's face it. a lot of these guys that's hunting with us,
I'm not
they
allergic.
don't have the hunts that we have every weekend.
That's true too.
I mean, the hunts that we're putting them on are one of the best hunts of their, I'll say their life, really. And they want to be able to witness that with their eyes, with birds decoying it and whatever else.
And I'd say that's part of our. We have to take control, or however you want to look at it, and say, dude, don't move.
We can only say it so many
You know.
times, though.
Yeah,
Because
but
Or
he's
don't
right
follow.
next to you. Bump
All
him.
the way.
Yeah. If he's right next to you, dude, don't move. They're gonna be in front of you. Don't
Right.
worry.
Right. Well, and I tried last year more than anything too with having a pre-game, pre-hunt talk. I guess I feel like most of the hunts, besides unless it was our main group, if we had anybody new in the group hunting out in the field, that I had a talk, safety wise or whatever it may be.
Oh, and our GoPros help because we review them. The drone helps. We looked at the blind. I mean, you get to see what your
Well,
setup
we
is.
don't look at the blind when we hunt the field, though.
When the what?
Nothing. Go ahead.
No, we point out good things, but those are good points. That's things we use to an advantage,
Right.
and it helps us.
What? So not to cut. I mean, you're the last one here. My dad mentioned a couple different hunts, but what is your most favorite hunt, memorable hunt?
We don't have that field no more. But one of the favorite hunts is when we first got our snow goose.
Oh, that yeah.
And that big hay bale, and we were in that barn. I mean, everything was picture perfect. We made a video. I mean, that was a cool hunt.
That was
We had a good group.
Your most. Oh, we had Mr. Breadman with us that day.
Mm-hmm.
How many guys we have that day?
Shit, we had 15, 16 guys that day. And we
Wow,
went
what
out.
a hunt,
And then
right?
the birds
Get
were
all
still
them people
landing.
like
We only
that.
had
Pick it up.
11, I think, because I was trying to call people to come out.
Yeah, that was
thought we
insane.
That was one of the craziest.
either
No,
way.
no, because that's we'll talk about it after. But you called me after the hunt about the pitcher. But
Oh,
Yeah.
I think we had
had 11.
11 guys
Yeah.
How about that duck hunt that
Which
we
one?
had? The
in the water.
The split, the
Yeah.
2-day split.
2-day split.
With
That-
Connor.
New Year's, yeah, with Connor.
Oh, that one was
That,
crazy.
that was a memorable hunt, yes.
Yeah, it was
and
awesome.
and
There's a lot of work went into that hunt.
Oh,
I-
yeah.
Tons.
a lot of guys put a lot of money in their gas tank because I think
We prepped for that hunt for 2 weeks because we had sub-zero temperatures and the water hole we wanted to hunt was frozen.
it,
so
it
we
was
were-
almost one of those hunts though that got done and it was like, yeah, I kind of knew that was going to happen. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like a hunt where it's like that, like that was close. But the first big duck hunt we had last year, it got to the point where I didn't realize there was that many birds there, and we pounded them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's a whole different
Like
thing.
you don't know what's gonna happen, but but you knew that was.
Yeah,
you
I
knew
mean,
they were there.
We shot what 12 man, 13 man, 14 man, something like that.
It was
40.
12 man
And one
one
goose
goose.
out of
40,
the door.
45 ducks, I think.
No,
it
no,
was.
I'm
40-some
talking
ducks.
about last year.
No. I'm talking about the split though.
Oh,
It was
yeah,
40
Connor.
some ducks.
I think
and
it's
a single
45.
goose that someone else wounded, and we finished it off. We didn't know where they were at, so obviously we didn't return it to them. But 100%, no doubt in my mind, we could have went out the second day of the split and did the exact same thing with the number of birds we saw.
we probably
Yeah,
should
we were
have.
cleaning
No, but the weather turned really bad and it,
It froze
froze,
up
and we
right
had
after
that.
Right, if we would have left the
Yeah.
system we had out there and
Yeah.
kept it overnight,
Which
Right.
big shout out to you and your cousin for that, for sure. 'Cause, I
It
mean,
did get
without-
really cold. Where I don't know if
Without
that
your
ice
cousin,
heater
though.
would have kept that open that day, but
But without your
it
cousin,
worked
though,
during all week though.
Without your cousin though, we wouldn't have been able to hunt that.
We went out there how many times doing?
Oh
that?
yeah,
Great.
changing
Twice a day.
batteries and rotating that out. It was a lot of work for
twice a
that.
day for a week.
But it paid off, right? So that's how
or
you get
2
it.
weeks.
So moving on past like even that, and Jimmy brought it up earlier about the.
I'm gonna go use the restroom.
Yeah, I mean I think we're almost wrapping it up here too, but
Nope, we got another hour to go.
no.
Yeah.
Your dad's getting a little old there, Kyle.
Hey, drank a
Um,
little bit too
I know
much.
he's gonna be
Yeah,
a grandpa
China.
soon.
You know,
No,
it's-
but
that'll keep you going.
moving on from that, I think one of the things that is really cool is the way we've learned how to process the birds and the things we've done. We've all gotten together and processed birds, and made jerky and made
Pastrami,
the
goose
loaves,
loaf,
yeah.
and
Summer
hunter
sausage,
sticks, all
yeah.
that stuff.
I think that is another thing that really, because when you shoot that many birds, we don't waste them.
Yeah, you got to get
You
creative.
gotta figure out how to use those birds, and put them in a crock pot all the time is just not the best way to do it all the time. But we moved on and we figured out how to use every bit of meat, and then even needing some to finish off what we were doing. But to get the the loaves and the stuff that we made, and the summer sticks, and that to me is really cool too, that we've learned how to do. And then
Big shout out to Jimmy.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. And
And our farmers love it.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
The cherry on top
awesome,
of that
right?
is, like you said, everybody wants it. There's no way this is goose. It's 100% goose. We make them and I smoke them. And that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, I want to say, what is everybody's
different.
goals for like this year? New or, what's your expectations or like I said, goals for moving forward for the group?
I'm just hoping that we continue to excel. I mean, our off season this year, which is a little different topic, but our off season, we did a lot. I mean, we built 2 blinds.
Me and Brandon did.
One of them one of them's essentially a pit blind for all intents and purposes, but
Right.
not necessarily a pit blind. It's below ground, but it's going to get the job done. I think that's going to be huge, especially if we can get as many hunts out of that field as we did last year.
It's just your different circumstances, and then for people that didn't hear me because my mic was off and I didn't realize it. But goals on the season wise is what the question was. But
Yeah.
go ahead.
So I'm waiting, to see how that pans out. That was a lot of work, getting that blind built, getting it put in, and it turned out sweet. Hopefully the foliage does its job and grows around
It
it.
definitely is because I checked out. You can barely see it now.
Okay. And then the second blind that we just put in,
Got a little bit more work to do to it.
yeah,
but
that one still needs a little love, but that's also in a good field that's normally produces pretty well for us.
Which that's all getting cut next week.
Yeah, and we're lucky enough to have farmers that allow us to leave permanent blinds in their fields.
Not only that, but want us to even go above and beyond on our blinds. 'Cause
Right.
they were pretty adamant on building actual pit blinds in most of the fields,
Yeah.
but we kind of talked them out of it.
Yeah, it's. I think this season, once we see what these blinds do, the off season next year might be even busier. Assembling more blinds that we can just leave in the field, because that's a huge part of our morning. I mean, when we hunt those fields, we get an extra hour of sleep now because we don't need that
Right.
hour to go set the blinds up and make sure they look good, and the blind's already there.
Well, I mean that's a big thing though too. With the blinds being done, that's huge, and every year it seems like we're getting closer and closer with the farmers and the families and with us though, the sky's the limit with what we can do with the group, just because of the fact that the relationships that we've built with these farmers. I mean, we've became very close, and
Yeah, 100%. If you
without their support, we wouldn't be half the group that we are now.
Yeah, if you want to have an incredible hunting season, regardless of what you're hunting, find your farmers and treat them right, and
Right.
you will be set.
I'll top that too. Is don't just talk to them during hunting season.
Oh yeah, all year long.
I'm talking to most of our main farmers, and there are some farmers that I don't talk to, but we got further relationships with those other ones that
Yeah, even just
You
a quick
can't-
text,
yeah.
once a month. Hey, how you guys doing?
You guys
Is there
need any
you
help
need
with
any help with
anything?
anything? Whatever it may be. Keep in contact, keep that relationship good, and you're set. I mean,
Anybody else got any goals or anything for this season? Jimmy, you got goals?
No, because we say more. We do good, man. I can't expect more. Really,
I guess
that's
not
where I'm at.
goals.
I
Not,
want to help Kyle out a little bit more into the shared.
oh yeah, Devin.
Really? When's that start? When's that starting?
Where's my $64 at?
When's that start? I think every year we go into the season too with and for me especially last year, which is incredible, with a bucket list bird, a bird that you want to shoot that you haven't shoot or you don't normally
wood duck.
see.
I would love to shoot a wood duck.
Well, you put enough work in, Devin, you'll get there.
Devin just wants the wood. He don't care about the duck.
Right. The black duck for me last year was bucket list duck. Come on, man, I don't want no more of that, man. Listen, my wife said no.
Oh my God.
So I think putting a couple birds, which we don't like a widgeon, or
want a
maybe
speck.
like a nice pintail, or even a speck, or
I
a
want a
blue
speck.
even. You know, there's blues that we've seen that. But as far as goals, I just think status quo, man. Have a good time. I mean, there's gonna be ups and downs throughout the season, but have a good time. But I think a goal for all of us should be maybe putting a little more time in to find other, we got to expand a little bit, and start getting more. Everybody's got to put a little time in and try to figure out more places, expand out further.
And when I say goals too, it doesn't mean numbers of birds.
Right.
It means, for the group or even for us, maybe it's 5 years down the road, or it's.
I think a good goal would be to get Devin to put his truck in
In the
four-wheel
ditch.
drive and go into a field and not leave it on the pavement like a pussy.
Yeah, that doesn't happen a lot.
Nope.
That
I want
doesn't
to see fucking Ray bring his truck out just once.
I guarantee you, if the white truck's broke down, that new truck will be in the field. No
No,
questions
it won't.
asked.
No, it won't.
But yeah. I mean, there's
I said it earlier to you that it's like shooting a 200 class buck. If you're a deer hunter, you kind of know what I'm saying. You done maxed your limit. If you expect to get something bigger, probably not going to happen, right? I mean, we're at I'm not saying we're totally at our max. It could get better, but we're to the extreme to where we've done excellent. It doesn't. The best part is the friendship.
yeah.
You know?
I think our group alone has definitely put all of our names on the map, which that's not why we're doing it, obviously. But with the success that we the success that we have out in the field is definitely put us out there. But
I'd say most people would be jealous.
I think most people are. Don't
You know?
get me wrong.
Be
I'm
honest
not trying
with
to
you.
be cocky
And
or
I'm not
arrogant.
being to be out
Cocky,
for us or
right.
whatever, but come on, man. There's not two people doing the setup. We're not charging nobody. Everybody's happy about
The best
when they come
video,
out.
the best video that I have last year, I think Lauren took it, and it was the video that Jimmy said, "Man, this is a day that duck and goose hunter, I forget how you said it, but
Dream
dream
about.
about." And I was about to post that the other day on our Instagram, but yeah, I mean, you could really say that about our whole season, though.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
I think some people are a little jealous. It's crazy how many people know who you are, Kyle. I had this kid come up to me at work, and we're talking about hunting. And I didn't give any specifics, but, we're talking about areas that he's hunting. I was like, oh, I've hunted a little bit down there. He goes, oh, well, Kyle, he kind of runs that area. And I'm like, damn, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I've never seen this dude before in my life.
Even when I went to the Bay City Waterfowl Festival, I had probably 10 guys tap me on the shoulder and ask me who I was, and it's crazy that people the waterfowl community is a very tight knit group, which we are to an extent, but we're big enough now where I think cat's out of the bag, and a lot of people know exactly where we're at and pinpointing a lot of the spots where we're at, which that's why we did our work for our farmers and got those relationships, because in all reality, it doesn't really matter now. We have those spots, and lucky to have them. But like my dad said, every year, what I expect is to grow and grow and grow. You can't be just content with where you're at, and if somebody lives over here, then let's try to go a little bit north of that, and let's if we got to drive a little bit further, then we got to drive a little bit further to get on that field. But you can't just be content with what you got. I drove, I think it was Monday or Tuesday, I drove all the way towards MIS just trying to find new spots or and you know when you drive, and this is my big thing with scouting wise. When I'm driving, especially early season, I'm not looking just for the wheat fields. I'm looking for the cornfields and the water, or the bean fields and the water. You always got to look for like ahead of the game too. Like you can't just look at now, because if you're looking at now, you're already too late on the other fields. Because how many people are going to ask on that by the time you get back around to it and check it out? And that's why I think that log book would be really good to be able to write down, which I really don't think it'd be a bad idea for all of us to have. Write down, you know, I seen birds over here last year, so they're probably going to be over here this year. You know, the area that we hunt, we don't really get good until the calendar birds start flying down. We wouldn't know that until, or unless we started doing the work that we've put in there. You know, I think the first time that we drove out there was like nothing out there because it was earlier in the year. We drive out there, or me and Jake drove out there, Simons drove out there later in the year, and it was just loaded. And ever since then we started understanding like birds aren't here right now, but they're coming. You know what I mean? Like it's just, there's a lot of stuff that goes into it. That's small details that people overlook.
Prime examples
your
at field
place.
by my grandma's.
Right.
You know, not my grandma's, but the one down the road.
Right.
Last year it was corn, but shit, they didn't take the corn off till like a
Almost
week
split.
before the 2-day split,
Exactly.
2 weeks before the 2-day split.
Right.
I was convinced it was just going to stay there till the spring, so I didn't bother asking until I saw it come down. And then come to find out, someone already had permission who ended up being a cool guy, and we hunted with him. And
He'll be with us on Sunday.
okay, I was going to say we've still, you know, stayed in contact with him a little bit, and you know, it worked out. But ask early, even if you don't know if there's birds in that area. If you see a field and you think it could be good, just ask.
Well, that's a prime example for me. Is that 3 years ago down to the west, down by there by the river,
Yeah.
that
yeah,
I
that
stopped
one.
in. I stopped in and there
Next
was
to my
nothing
mom's
there.
house.
Yeah, there was nothing there, and I literally saw a couple birds flying, and I just happened to stop in, and the guy says, "Sure." Well, that was where we had that pigeon hunt, that big one that one time.
That was a sweet hunt, right?
It was a sweet hunt.
With the water and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, that one. Yeah. You're talking about. Yeah. That was awesome. Yeah.
It's the same
Same-
field, but
same thing.
years prior to that.
Right,
yeah, yeah,
how
yeah,
we
same-
ended
same
up
thing.
getting.
Yeah, it was like the one of the last
Yeah.
hunts of the
Yeah, that was really
season
cool.
a couple
Brandon
years
come
ago.
down from
Yeah,
Lakeshore and
Brandon
stuff,
came down.
But that was just. I asked on a whim, and we actually got a good relationship with that guy now. He's a
I mean,
real,
that's the thing
he's a
though
friend of
too.
ours.
I guess. I mean, just because you don't hunt the field that year or the water that year or a pond that year doesn't mean that it's going to get good in the future to be able to keep goods with that farmer or landowner or whatever it is. Like you got to stay with it and know when to look. If you look in an area one time and all of a sudden there's no birds there, doesn't mean there's not going to be birds there later on in the year. Like you got to keep on going in. And honestly, I wouldn't mind all of us to have a log book. They're $10 on Amazon, and I think it would help us benefit a lot. Like I said, growing as a group and not just in the area that we hunt now.
Well, that's like the nursery field.
Yeah.
You know, every year we've hunted it. Last year we didn't even walk in it.
Nope.
You know, the birds just didn't really go there.
Nope. I don't
You know?
know. Was it planted last year though?
Yeah,
Was
it was beans, but
That was a pretty crazy hunt the year prior though.
yeah, oh yeah,
When
yeah. And then like my grandma's,
when I almost got my ass beat by my dad for sinking his truck in the field.
That cost me a lot of money. That hunt.
Yeah.
That cost me
well,
a lot of
that's
money.
like my grandma's. It doesn't get good really until later in the season.
Yeah.
Well, exactly. Like
You know?
like you know that because you were always around there,
Yeah.
and that's the whole thing with me scouting. I scout so much. It's not just to check fields out. It's check to see different areas or what we don't have or what we have. Jimmy's about to go kung fu, but
Kid.
I mean, there's just a lot that goes into the scouting, and part of it is me being stubborn and not trusting people with the birds in the field, because half the time I ask for pictures or videos or whatever, and you know, it goes a long way. Preseason's coming up. This will be the last thing for me anyway, unless anybody else got anything. Preseason's
good, man.
Preseason is upon us.
Yeah, it's
yeah. I mean, it's here really.
Tomorrow's our first preseason.
We've
yeah.
got what, 2 weeks?
2 weeks probably now. Yeah.
2 weeks
Yeah,
before
preseason
Which
starts.
I don't know when this is gonna. This might drop, the week before or a week into season, depending on what's going on. But yeah,
you
I
should
mean,
drop it opening day of early season.
I can. I can.
If everything lines up and you can get it done opening day of early season, this is a prime talk for people to be able to listen to and see
Yeah. No, I
how
can
we do
that.
it, so they can maybe try to, do something this year.
I can't. No, but I mean, it's here. Like you said, we got the blinds that are out there, the permanent blinds. We got blind brushing Sunday. We're knocking some rust off tomorrow, which we're mid-August right now when we're talking. But any other preseason prep that
Well, we're gonna find out this year. I planted grass at my house specifically for brushing in the blinds, and obviously not enough because we brush in a good number of blinds.
about 4 A-frames plus the
But,
permanent now.
Yeah,
And layouts.
but we can
Layouts are tough.
we can really see how this particular grass holds up, and if it's good and it lasts us through the season. Next year I'll plant more. And not everybody has the ability to do that stuff,
Right.
but if you can do just little things like that to where you're not driving around for 6 hours like we've done in the past, cutting brush from random state land areas and hauling it 30 minutes back to someone's house and brushing the blinds in the driveway, where now we can just take them, set them up in my backyard, cut the grass, use what we got, and if we need more, I got regular other grass around, but just little things, if you are able to do it, to make life easier for all of season, really.
Convenience of your own home.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
definitely a plus.
Right. No, I mean that's
That brushing the blinds is key. I mean, and honestly, I think it was last year, I think we did it a little bit early.
Russian blinds.
Because
it's
by the
2
time
weeks.
season rolled around, the grass was quite a bit darker than the natural.
And that's another thing too, though. Just because you brush in blinds early doesn't mean that you got to top them off before each hunt. I feel like that's a big thing where a lot of guys think that they brush them in August or whatever it is.
And you're done, but you're
You
not.
got to realize your surroundings at that point.
Yeah.
I
You gotta
if-
blend in. You gotta blend in.
Yeah,
If-
well, a big thing that helps us is 9 times out of 10 we have a brush line or something that we can get in, and we sit the blinds.
99% of the time.
Yeah, we sit the blinds behind some of the brush, so even if our blinds are completely dead,
Right,
there's some green grass in front of us, so it makes it makes it a lot better.
right. Any tips for new hunters or experienced hunters that anybody has?
I would say probably the biggest thing is safety. You've got to know, and we always stress this when we go out, especially when new people come out. I know I yell it every single time, safety's on. Make sure you know where the muzzle of your gun's pointed.
Watch
And-
out for guns when you're getting out of the blind and
Yeah.
in the blind.
It's just, safety,
Especially with dogs.
safety, especially with dogs. I mean,
Dogs are a big thing.
yeah, big when, but to me, the safety portion of what we do is great. I think we all do a really good job as far as making sure that we're all doing the right things. But yeah, I can't stress that enough, is safety, because you don't want to go home and explain to somebody what happened, to somebody. I mean, this is something that we do as a hobby. It's not our livelihoods, and I think safety is the utmost important what we do.
Jimmy, Matt, Goodman, Brandon, you got anything?
Good.
Tips wise for new hunters or
Enjoy the ride, man.
One of the big things, we don't hunt a lot of water, but that's really my neighbor started me in the waterfowling fields, and then he ended up having a kid and just essentially quit hunting. He doesn't hunt anymore. He still has all the gear. And when he quit, I had the itch, so I went and bought a little shitty boat and started hunting the water, and that's all I really had besides my grandma's field, which wasn't good till late season. when you're on the water, make sure you know where you're at. Do not just jump out of your boat because you think you can see the ground.
Or you're 2 foot off of a rock wall.
Right. You know, just because you think there's hard ground there, you might sink 10, 12 inches.
Right.
And then next thing you know, your waders are full of water and it's freezing cold out. And if you're by yourself, I mean, that could be the end.
Yeah.
And nobody wants, you know, their last hunt to, you know, be that way. You know, nobody wants to hear about a fellow hunter going down.
It's every year happens. I mean,
Every year.
no bird is worth. your
And definitely
life.
hunt with somebody.
I think that's
Yeah, you
I
always
hunt
want to have
alone.
at least one person with you, and they may not be able to save you depending on the situation, but at least they're there in case they could.
Right.
I one quick story. And me and Kyle had just started out hunting. We literally have a 10-foot rowboat. I'm actually rowing out to a spot. I don't know, maybe had 2 dozen floater. We hunted the water. That's all we ever did. So we took the rowboat out. Me and Kyle are sitting out there. We got a couple heaters. It was cold. So we pulled the little rowboat up on the shore. We started hunting, and we actually had a good, I think that was a really good hunt that day. It was a fun, we shot a redhead and a
almost
bunch of mallards.
Shot our 2 man, and that was the first
Yep.
big hunt.
Yep, and
Per
so
se.
we're sitting there looking and we're talking, and I want to say Kyle's waders were leaking, and he's freezing. He's freezing cold. Well, I'm like, well, we got to go. Well, I look over, and the water had gone out, like the tide, and our boat was floating away. We had it up on shore, and just the water had come up and grabbed the boat, and the boat is probably, I would say, less than 100 yards from getting out in the middle of Lake Erie. And here I am going across the bay, running towards the boat. I almost just started swimming, but I'm thinking, man, if I get cold, I'm not going to be able to make it. But it was that was just an eye opener about what to do, what not to do, and like you said, being with somebody just in case. And like Kyle just said, there's not a duck or a goose worth putting yourself in a position where it's something could happen. So not even a question about that. Or putting a dog in that situation. It's not even worth it.
That's another big thing. All the early season guys. My cousin's dog, 2 years ago now, died. He was hunting early season, and there was an algae bloom in the little state land area that he was hunting that he didn't know about, and the dog got sick, and he ended up dying like 3 days later. The vet couldn't do nothing about it. You just gotta really know where you're at. I mean, regardless of water depth or anything like that, just be careful. You obviously want to go home, but you definitely don't want to not take your dog home, which to most guys is like your kid.
No, I mean that's a huge thing too. The dog, especially when it gets cold out. I mean,
Yeah.
there's been multiple hunts where we don't even take Ellie out just because how cold it is and how miserable it would be for her. Tips that I would have would be, you're gonna get 100 no's to the 1 yes, but the 1 yes, make it count and work with it. And like I said before, you're gonna go through some people and some good and bad guys to make up a group, and it's all worth it in the end. And there's so many ups and downs with waterfowl hunting. It's crazy. But anything else from anybody?
Nope.
But so
Have a good season, man.
Not right now.
yeah, maybe
Hit me
we'll
back
check
up
in.
mid-season.
We'll
yeah,
check in.
maybe we'll do a mid-season checkup as a little bit of a BS session, and maybe one-on-ones even.
Come
maybe.
in on that little week break we get.
Yeah, maybe we'll do something there. But just want to shout out Migra for helping us out. I mean, all of us are shooting Migra, and it's been absolute killer for us. And my dad's the one that's really talking to most of those guys over there. But all the help that they've been.
They've done
Yeah,
really well
yeah.
by us.
Well, that's another big thing. Not to get off the topic, but Migra, for instance, I mean, I would wager to say multi-million-dollar company.
Yeah.
And your dad went out of his way and had some stuff made for them and sent it to him, and just the appreciation that they gave him for doing little stuff like that.
Yep.
You know,
There's
just
a long
because
ways.
they're a multi-million-dollar company,
Yep.
doesn't mean they wouldn't appreciate, you know, a $5 gift that they really know came from someone that cares and appreciates what they're doing for
Yeah.
them.
And I mean, we've been pounding birds with it though too. That the double load and I mean it's been great with us. The guys that we've been working with have been great. They're coming in this year.
They're also working on a turkey load for this spring. They'll have it out this spring, so the turkey load will be ready this spring. I talked to those guys about that too. So
That'll be another big thing for us. The Gator Decoy guys, they got the extended pole. We started running their stuff I think last year.
And the ground screw.
Yeah, it's going to be a game changer for sure. They got some new stuff coming out here soon. GK calls for helping us out. We just teamed up with them guys recently. We'll be at their booth and our booth at Point Moulet. So if you guys aren't doing nothing, the 16th and 17th of September, come out and say hello. And then I guess Paracord Lab, my sister's company, she's doing all customized lanyards and gunslings,
Cup handles, all kinds of
yeah,
stuff.
everything. So, but no, I appreciate it.
SX,
And
another decoy, SX decoys.
yeah, we're running with the SX decoys too, which I mean that's been, I feel like night and day difference compared to the decoys that we've ran before.
Good guys over there.
But no, I appreciate everybody tuning in and staying this long for the old BS session with the group. But I think there's a lot to learn with it all. But until next time, I appreciate it.